When the Broncos have found success this season, they've won the battle in the trenches. Sunday afternoon at Allegiant Stadium, the Raiders' offensive and defensive lines diminished Denver's playoff hopes as Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams combined for just 8 yards on the ground, while the Raiders rushed for a season-high 160 yards. In his first start since the season finale against the Raiders last year, Drew Lock went 15 of 22 for 153 yards with no turnovers. However, the offense had just 8 first downs, 1 third down conversion, and finished with a season-low 158 total yards. Here's a look back at Denver's Week 16 loss to Las Vegas.
You have great coaches, you get great players, you have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Against the Raiders on this day was a fiercely determined Bronco team, united not only by weeks of hardship and adversity, but by hope and purpose as well.
Today, the Broncos on the road looking for their 8th victory of the season. Broncos and the Raiders renew a rivalry that dates all the way back to 1960. Drew Lock gets his first start of the season at quarterback for the Broncos. It is a interesting game for sure for the Broncos, and a big game for both the Broncos and for Drew Lock.
This is a kind of a playoff game, especially if you're the Denver Broncos. You lose this one and you're out of it. Is there going to be some energy in this crowd tonight? Broncos fans that are filling in here, I think the Raiders have their work cut out for them against a very good Denver defense.
Derek Carr, he's had a lot of success against the Broncos in recent years. Get after him, force a turnover or two, and it should be a good game for the Denver Broncos.
Carr in the gun, sets up the screen, and the ball's intercepted. Bradley Chubb, what a great play. That's about as good as it gets right there. Handoff, Javonte Williams walks into the end zone, and the Broncos have a late first half touchdown.
Carr looking left, throwing left, corner of the end zone. It is caught, and they get down in time. Hunter Renfrow.
He shovels the football ahead of Jacobs, who fumbles the football. The ball's loose, and I think the Broncos have it. Lock is in the gun, now steps up, floats one in the area. Ball is into and out of the hands of Albert Okwuegbunam. 17-13, Las Vegas with the win.
Well, now Ryan Harris is here to point out a few of the most promising plays from Sunday and what went wrong, especially late in the game for the Broncos as they suffered their 4th straight loss to the Raiders. Ryan, let's start with a couple of plays that went right, starting with Bradley Chubb's first career interception.
And a huge play by Bradley Chubb. Also an unsung hero is going to be Dre'Mont Jones. This is why I'm loving that we get to do this today, to give some unsung heroes some shine. So Bradley Chubb's right here on the top of your screen. He's going to get to a route right about this point, and this is showing that he's a veteran now. Anytime he gets through the line of scrimmage, you don't feel contact, a screen's coming. So Bradley Chubb got back as soon as he reacted, but it's because Dre'Mont Jones had so much penetration. He gets deep into the backfield that allows Bradley Chubb to stop, see the quarterback's eyes, and pick off the ball. So on the snap of the ball, you're going to see Dre'Mont Jones fight outside. Boom, that gets, and he gets it. Then he runs. This is what I love, too. He didn't fall down. He actually caught the ball and didn't fumble it. It doesn't look like much, but when you got a grown man giving you the tomahawk chop right on that ball, it's hard to hang on to that, especially if a defensive player isn't used to hanging on to the football. That was a huge play in the game and set up the only touchdown of the day.
A 21-yard return for Bradley Chubb, which, like you mentioned, set Javonte Williams up for his 4th rushing touchdown of the season.
And the touchdown goes to Javonte Williams here, but this is all Netene Muti. He is your lineman who's disguised himself as a fullback. Now, of course, us linemen think we can play any position on the field, but that's going to be the key to this run. Netene Muti getting in there and really making a collision on the line of scrimmage, that's going to be the difference. And I want to introduce you to somebody making a business decision right here, number 52 from the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to see Netene Muti, and he wants no part of it. And you see as the play begins, here comes Netene, wham, there's the collision. They always say, too, if you score with your man, we are going to score. I love this angle as well. Alexis, I think you could get into this gap, wham. And Javonte Williams perfectly leads up that inside number of Netene Muti, and that was the difference, and that's why they scored.
Well, as a Fresno, California girl, I love seeing the Fresno State product making a big play like that. But let's go ahead and fast forward now to the 4th quarter. Broncos down by 4 with less than 6 minutes left in the game, and they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. And Drew Lock's pass to Cortland Sutton is good for the first down. and then some.
I thought this was one of the best plays of the day. 3 things happen here. 1, protection, 2, decision making, and 3, the finish. So the protection is going to come from the offensive line. They're going to give Drew Lock a ton of time to sit in the pocket, and that's something that I thought Drew Lock did his best this last game. He really stayed in the pocket and let those routes develop, and that was a difference for the Broncos this week. Also, you'll see Drew Lock look right to left. That means he's going through his progressions. That's something you want to see from your young quarterback at this point in the game. And then the finish by Courtland Sutton, who's lined up right here for you. So that's where Courtland Sutton is. He's going to make a play all the way over here, and you can just see at the moment when Drew Lock would have left the pocket, staying in there creates the opportunity. So the protection by the offensive line's fantastic, gives him that pocket to stand in, and he delivers a strike right there, a little behind, but Courtland Sutton finishes the play. There may not have been a bigger play in the game than this one on 4th and 1.
Well, I wish we would have seen a few more big catches like that Sunday afternoon and less of Josh Jacobs absolutely running all over this Denver defense, including this play here. It's 2nd and 6, 3:10 left in the game, and he picks up critical yards for the Raiders.
Yeah, and this is some teaching tape for Baron Browning, the young linebacker for the Broncos. He's lined up right here. One of the things with young linebackers in the NFL, they often move their feet too much. They're too ready. They're trying to make too many plays. Experienced linebackers stand in their shoes, let the play develop, and then attack. And that's what's going to be the difference here on this play. One of the things that you should never do as a linebacker is get foot to foot with your linebacker next to you. And that's what's going to happen, creating the opening here as Josh Jacobs comes along this right side of the offensive line as the play develops. So you'll see Baron Browning, he moves over, he's in a good spot, but then he's going to overcommit, boom, and that creates just enough space for Josh Jacobs to open up and get downfield. You can kind of see it a little better from the back view, from the line view, which is where most of us linemen watch the film, but you're going to see these two get over-connected, bam, and that creates the late reaction that forces him to overcompensate and creates the hole right down the middle. This was a dagger, a tough day for the Broncos defense, especially in the second half with Josh Jacobs. He ran for over 100 yards. You can't do that in a division game in December.
Well, hopefully they can clean some things up this Sunday going up against the LA Chargers.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a tough and angry team wanting to win.
All right, well, coming up after the break, Ryan, Lionel, and Troy will look ahead to Denver's Week 17 matchup against the Chargers. But first, here are a few of my favorite images from inside Allegiant Stadium, snapped Sunday by Broncos team photographer Gabriel Christis. Welcome back to Broncos Country Connected. While the Denver Broncos have not been officially eliminated from playoff contention, less than a 1% chance is far from encouraging. For what the Broncos should hope to accomplish over their final 2 games, here's Lionel Bienvenu, Troy Renck, and Ryan Harris.
Thanks, Alexis, and welcome to our Denver 7 segment brought to you by 1-800-GOT-JUNK. All right, guys, here we stand with 2 games to go, and the Broncos' playoff chances basically are slim and none. They lost the last 2 games in a row when they had no room for error. But after the loss to the Raiders, we heard guys like Shelby Harris and Bradley Chubb saying they're going to play lights out 100% in the last 2 games because that's their job. That's what they do. And Ryan, really that's all you can do at this point.
Absolutely. Teams, NFL personnel, even on the Broncos, they want to see how players handle the opportunity to play knowing that the playoff chances are bleak. How do you prepare? How are you focused? Are you late to meetings? Are you on time? Are you encouraging your teammates? Are you being positive? All these things matter to the length of each player's career, and coaches in front office are watching league-wide.
Yeah, Troy, we hear it all the time in the NFL. As Ryan said, it's true. No matter what happens at the end of the season, you're playing for your job as we look ahead to next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when you haven't had winning seasons to kind of have on the resume, you need to put on good film. As Ryan knows, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. So if you're not giving full effort, that will be noticed. If your performance sinks because you're upset you're not going to the playoffs, that will be noticed. And I think it's important, too, that these guys rally around each other. Absent of everything else going around them, this team does like each other. There's good chemistry. You don't want to fail your teammates these last couple of weeks.
All right, Ryan, let's talk quarterbacks now, shall we? Drew Lock started in Vegas, 15 for 22, 153 yards, no touchdowns, no turnovers. He was okay. it could have been a whole lot better for him except for some drop passes and really no run game to support him.
Yeah, they only rushed the ball 16 times. That's unheard of. Even for the Broncos lately, they've been in that 30 attempts per game range. But also those drops you mentioned were huge. Jerry Jeudy had a big drop. Albert Okwuegbunam. Can we help the broadcasters that come broadcast the game? But one thing people are missing too, penalties were a big issue. You have back-to-back penalties by left tackle Garrett Bowles and then on your right tackle. So that really was tough as you're getting moving. I thought Drew Lock played a great game for where he's been and what he's become. That was his best game as a Bronco.
Yeah, the quarterback situation, Troy, is going to be one of the big question marks of the offseason. What are they going to do with Drew Lock? Will they bring back Teddy Bridgewater? Big money? Will they make a trade or will they take a quarterback in the draft?
Well, I think their first priority will be to try to land an established veteran, a star like an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson through trade, maybe even a Matt Ryan. If that cannot be accomplished, then you have to look at the possibility that maybe you bring back Teddy Bridgewater and pair him with a first-round draft choice. I don't know that Drew Lock will be part of the future. Again, a lot of uncertainty around the position, but George Paton, in his first real offseason now, is going to have to address the position in a meaningful way, Lionel, when you're in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and also Derek Carr.
All right, Ryan, we talked about 2 games to go. What would it mean for this team to come out, beat the Chargers, and then beat the Chiefs and have a winning season for the first time in 5 years?
Well, it's great to end any season beating 2 division opponents, but you want something positive to hang your hat on for the next 8 months, and that's really what you're talking about. NFL players who don't make the playoffs, they're going to be off from that January 6th date or 7th date all the way through to September. So you don't really have anything positive to play on. A lot of players are going to see players get drafted at their position. So there's going to be increased anxiety. So you want to have success that you can hang your hat on and say things didn't go well, but at the end of the day, we had a winning record and we were able to defeat 2 division opponents to finish the season.
Yeah, Troy, there's also the position of playing spoiler going into L.A. and maybe knocking the Chargers back out of a playoff spot. That would feel good. Then the Chiefs come to in Power Field at Mile High for the finale. As Ryan just said, you always want to go into the offseason winning your last game of the season no matter what happens.
Yeah, I hate the role of spoiler for this franchise. I think spoil and think of things like, why does sour cream have an expiration date? It makes no sense for the Broncos. It doesn't make sense for them, but it is what is left for them. And it would be important to end the streak of 4 straight losing seasons. And it would be important to end the 12-game losing streak against the Chiefs. That would give you a boost going into the offseason, even without the playoffs.
All right, thanks, guys. Now it's time to take you behind the face mask as we get to know Broncos players and what they're like off the field. This week it's linebacker Jonas Griffith. From undrafted rookie to starting for the Broncos, he loves the competition. Part of that comes from being born into a big family. He's one of 12 kids. And as Nick Rothschild shows us, his unique childhood prepared him well for the NFL.
Growing up with 11 brothers and sisters can prove perilous.
We had wrestling matches. We always got in fights and stuff, but, I think that kind of toughened me up a little bit because I was kind of soft growing up. Well, that's what they say. So
I'm not sure how you can be soft and be an NFL player, so I think you were plenty tough at any point.
They used to always say I was soft, so I would always have to defend myself and stuff like that.
But the Griffith family had one main rule.
If you snooze, you lose. Like with the food, if you ain't down there when it's time to eat, there ain't gonna be no food. There's no seconds.
It's a rule that's easy to learn. Only took Jonas one ill-timed afternoon nap, one missed pot roast dinner.
I was crying because I was like 8 or 9. I was crying because I missed it. It's one of my favorite meals that she made, and I ain't missed no meals after that.
Learning was paramount to Jonas's mom. So much so, she homeschooled her kids. All 11 of them.
She's a really good teacher, so everything was pretty structured. Like we would wake up at around 7. All my siblings, we'd all take out our spelling and vocabulary first, do that in the morning, and then finish with history usually. So history is my favorite class because, it means we're almost done. So.
When Mama Griffith goes into teaching mode, you better bring your A game.
She would definitely make you stay after school, man. She'd make you stay after in the kitchen by yourself, man, crying on the table trying to figure out a math problem.
Jonas didn't start playing football until senior year of high school.
I've been begging it my whole life, I feel like.
But the time at home built a foundation for growth and prosperity later in life.
The structure, and having a plan with everything, and also just being super structured in my life, just I got to do this after practice, got to do this, just having the structure. I think that's the biggest thing that my parents instilled in me.
Would you homeschool your kids?
Oh, no, not at all, man. It was good for me. I feel like everything happens for a reason, but I wouldn't want my kids to, want them to have friends, at an early age and stuff like that.
Jonas Griffith made his second career start Sunday in Las Vegas and recorded a team-high 13 tackles, including 2 for loss. Pretty impressive. Coming up on Broncos Country Connected, we'll check in with a veteran member of the Denver defense to learn what moments have stood out to him throughout his 12-year career. That's next.
Broncos Country Connected is presented by Carpet Mill Outlets. Bigger discounts, better selections.
Welcome back to this final segment of Broncos Country Connected, presented by Ford. Head coach Vic Fangio recently mentioned that for guys who have played in the league for as long as safety Kareem Jackson has, they tend to lose their stinger for the game before they lose their ability. In Kareem's case, his love of the game and the physicality he plays with hasn't wavered, even in his 12th season in the league. Kareem shares who has inspired his style of play and some of his favorite moments on the field in this week's Player Spotlight.
Tannehill keeping it alive, now throws, picked off, Kareem Jackson.
Lawrence now sets and throws. Pass is going to be intercepted by Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson with his 20th career interception.
For me as a kid, just growing up and, playing all 3 sports, baseball, football, and basketball. As I got older, I figured out, football was going to be my passion and what I fell in love with. And so from then on, just watching it as a kid, seeing, the greats, Shannon Sharp and Champ Bailey and all those guys. Just growing up watching those guys, I instantly fell in love with the game and the process of the game. So from then on, the rest was history.
Denver rushes 5. Trubisky throws past the middle, knocked away inside the 45 on a good play by Kareem Jackson.
The one trait I would have to say is just being consistent. Just having that consistent work ethic, going in and day out, putting in that work in order to get better on a day-to-day basis, whether it's the weight room, whether it's field work, when everybody else is sleeping or taking time off, you have to be consistent in what you do, as far as, getting better with your craft.
Tight trips left as Roethlisberger is under center. He brings Smith-Schuster, gives him the ball in the jet sweep. Smith-Schuster hit hard and knocked off his feet by Kareem Jackson.
I like to be the physical presence in the back end. A lot of these receivers don't like to get hit, so for me, if I can come in early and put some hits on some receivers or running backs, and just kind of let them know, it's going to be a long day. I'm definitely willing to do that. So to describe my game, I'll definitely say physical.
Jeremiah Tashu hands it to Kareem Jackson, and Jackson's on the loose. Jackson with the foot race, and here we go. 40, 35, 30, down the Broncos sideline, 20, 15, 10, high stepping into the end zone, touchdown Denver.
The greatest moment for me would definitely have to be my first pick six, long time ago. When I was still playing corner. For me, that'll always be one of my most memorable plays, as a professional. And fast forwarding to being here, I would say probably the play I made my first year against the Chargers, the goal line play.
Shotgun snap, they flip it to Eckler. Eckler running left, he's spinning to the pylon. He dives, he lost the ball, and it's a touchback. It's a touchback. The Broncos stop the Chargers. It was a foot race. Kareem Jackson was chasing Austin Eckler.
The greatest challenge for me, it's a lot of challenges. Just having to take the long route, which I say it's a long route, with going to college. I went to prep school before I actually went to Alabama, and it was a military school. So, just living the military life, I definitely look back on that time, and it was definitely a stepping stone for me to get where I am now. It was a tough moment, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Carr in the pocket throws a ball that is going to be intercepted. This is Kareem Jackson, first interception of the season.
I had a friend told me, tough times don't last, tough people do. It's one of the things that I try to live by.
Ball over the middle, deflected in the air and picked off, and Kareem Jackson has it. Deflected twice by the Broncos, and Kareem Jackson with a welcome home gift.
Well, that's all the time we have for Broncos Country Connected, but we'll see you same time, same place next week for more from the UC Health Training Center. Until then, have a safe and happy New Year.
Broncos Country Connected is brought to you by Ford Trucks. Built better, built stronger, built Ford tough.